I found this 1936 Art Deco radio cabinet in the trash years ago, and it's been sitting as a pile of junk in my storage shed ever since. Back then, I decided it was too far gone and was going to repurpose the parts, but years later I've reconsidered. So now, as I begin my work, I find myself wondering, can this piece actually be saved? I don't have that answer yet, but standing here, looking at what remains, the worn edges, the broken parts, and the years of neglect, there's one thing I do know. I'm willing to try to make this a little better and hopefully preserve a piece of history. If you asked me, I'd say Art Deco furniture designs are some of my favorites. At the peak during the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, many of these ornate pieces were inspired by the era's boldest innovations: streamlined locomotives, gleaming automobiles, and the towering skyscrapers that reshaped city skylines. There's no question these old radio towers especially resembled many of the bold skyscraper designs from the era. These weren't just functional, they were futuristic, a blend of craftsmanship and ambition that captured the spirit of progress, a topic that resonated with me throughout this project. There were several loose walnut veneer panels on the body of this cabinet, so it's important to secure these before rinsing this piece with water. I don't know the history behind this 90-year-old radio cabinet specifically, but imagine this with me. Maybe this old radio was once the centerpiece of a small-town family living room, long before televisions were a common household item. It probably stood quietly in the corner, its warm amber dial glowing through long Wisconsin winters. For generations, it projected the sounds of the outside world into the heart of the home, crackling news reports of war and peace and presidential speeches. Maybe this was purchased just in time to hear the news of Jesse Owens winning 4 Olympic gold medals in 1936, or even years later the tragic news of the attacks on Pearl Harbor. But through the years, it also played the soundtrack of everyday life: Sunday hymns, love songs from the 1940s, and later the sounds many are all too familiar with. There's no doubt this didn't just tell stories, it held them. So this isn't just a restoration, it's a way of honoring what was once heard and felt through its wooden frame. This gold metallic lacquer is superior to most paints found in the big box stores, and it should help bring some of these metal parts back to life. Between coats, I'll gently file back some of the dings and scratches. Some of you may be ahead of me on this, already aware of the major fire hazard these old electronics can be. Using a tube radio can be dangerous due to electrical shock, fire hazards, and exposure to hazardous materials like asbestos and mercury. High voltage capacitors, frayed wires, and hot tubes that hold energy even when powered off can also pose risks. I'm not qualified to update a piece like this safely, so what I decided to do was at least clean this gently and power it on long enough to confirm that it still works. Then I'll store this away in the refinished cabinet for the next person to discover. Is this still risky? Yes, but I'm willing to accept that risk. I'm not even sure it's worth paying a professional to repair the electronics safely. since these Art Deco radios can be found in near mint condition for around $100 in this area. I'll still find a safe way to project a new sound through this beautiful time capsule. I've found that it's okay to wash a piece like this with water and dish detergent, so long as it's placed where it can dry quickly. I don't know about you, but my biggest fear when working on something different like this has nothing to do with messing up or not knowing what I'm doing. I'll figure those things out along the way. What really scares me is losing motivation, slowing down, or even getting lazy. I'm sure I looked at this piece many times over the years and told myself, one day I'll do something about that. But then the doubt slowly crept in, and that's when I started questioning everything. Am I still passionate about this? Is it worth it? And am I enough to finish what I started? It's not the mistakes that hold me back. It's the moments when I stop moving forward. I don't expect this old radio cabinet to ever look exactly the way it once did, but that's not really the goal. My plan is to give it a second life right here in my workshop, where I can use it every day. Pieces like this, pulled from the trash and forgotten by most, are more than just restoration projects. They're an opportunity to push my skills, try something new, and let creativity take the lead. Some of the original parts are missing and may never be found, but that's where the fun begins. I'll recreate what I can using my laser engraver and cutter, adding new details where the old ones are gone. I've even started using this process to personalize old thrift store finds, giving them new purpose and a place in my shop. Not everything I make will be useful, but sometimes stepping outside the routine and doing something different is exactly what I need, because I'm a firm believer in using the imagination we've all been gifted. One of the things that makes Art Deco furniture so unique is the bold contrast. How different wood species were carefully chosen and arranged to highlight their natural tones and grain patterns. It wasn't just about symmetry or geometry, it was about drama, elegance, and movement. So for this restoration, I decided to lean into that spirit and have a little fun. Instead of settling for a uniform finish, I used a variety of traditional penetrating stains to bring out the richness of each wood tone. The deeper colors and layered contrasts add character, depth, and a subtle nod to the artistic flair that defined the era. As I repair and replace some of the veneer, I want to share with you a message I heard the day I completed this project. Our hands were made to do work. So find something you can do with your hands. Find your passion. And when you do, that's just the beginning. What follows are hours, days, sometimes years of commitment, of struggle, and of showing up when it's hard. You'll face challenges that test your patience and resolve, but those are often the moments that yield the most rewarding results, the kind that only come from refusing to take the easy way out. For many of us, passion is anchored in something deeper, a strong foundation of faith, or at least a set of guiding principles we choose to live by. And when we stray from that foundation, it's easy to feel lost, to chase after things that look like hope but leave us empty. So what would it take to change direction, to return to what matters and to find something that brings joy, and through that transforms us? Throughout this project, I continued to personalize some of the thrift store items I intend to repurpose, and I genuinely wondered how you might use a tool like this engraver for your own craft. Because of all the different unique profiles, I sanded the majority of this radio cabinet by hand, but the sponge-like pad on the Surf Prep sander made light work of the final sanding. With the sanding almost complete, it was time to stand back and imagine the different color options for this piece. This time, I did not get much help with the creative process. The original knobs for this radio were missing, so I decided to try and make my own using some scrap walnut. Although it was fun to explore different options for future projects, I did not use most of what I created this time, and you'll see why in a moment. This radio cabinet will not be restored back to the way it once was, but my goal is not to alter anything that may prevent someone else from doing a full restoration one day. To get the knobs to fit, I'll mix up some epoxy filler, then slide the knobs onto the radio while the epoxy dries. I'll use this same method for attaching a few other knobs I'll find shortly. I chose to apply a dark walnut stain to some parts of the cabinet and a light walnut stain to others. It's always frightening to see the color of this light walnut stain when first applied, but it should turn out okay. I'll come back with a fine brush to touch up the grooves in the fluted sides where I missed staining. While working on this project, I found these old knobs from a 1948 Admiral model that I repurposed years ago. With a little touch-up, these should be a nice addition. I'm finally ready to spray on some of the final finishes. This is one of the main reasons for choosing to work on this trash radio cabinet in the first place, to continue practicing the techniques for spraying finishes with an HVLP sprayer. At the moment, it's humid here in Wisconsin, so I'll add a little blush retarder to this sealer to slow down the drying process. This will allow moisture to escape instead of being trapped, creating a cloudy finish. This has been a slow progression, but I finally have an adequate air compressor for this work. One day I'll upgrade to a better sprayer, but for now, these $20 to $30 sprayers work just fine. No more using expensive rattle cans that only contain a few ounces of product. I'll spray on several coats of sealer first. This dries quickly and I'll sand lightly between coats as necessary with a 320 grit sponge pad. Once a sealer foundation is applied, you can begin color matching damaged areas with powder stains and fine brushes, but it wasn't necessary for this piece, so I'll move on to applying the final clear satin lacquer finish. I don't remember ever doing any upholstery work, so forgive me if there's a better method. I chose 2 different colors of fabric and ultimately decided on the one that would provide more of a stark contrast against the dark wood. I couldn't find my staplers, but this adhesive should help hold this fabric in place as it's stretched. To help protect the hardware, I'll spray on a glossy lacquer, and for the final lacquer finish for the cabinet, I'll mix more blush retarder with Finisher's Choice clear satin lacquer. This beautiful walnut book match veneer is without question the focal point of this piece, so I wanted to do something different. I'll apply Rubio Monocoat with a non-abrasive pad. This is a hard wax oil that not only provides adequate protection, but gives this section a gorgeous natural look. With cigarette burns still visible and a cloudy overall appearance, I decided not to use this cover, and I'm still considering other options to take its place. I wanted this old radio cabinet to continue serving a purpose, but safely, so I added a temporary shelf to hold a Bluetooth speaker. This will enable me to continue playing beautiful music every day in my workshop through this piece of history. Well, I suppose I'll leave you with this final thought. When faced with difficult challenges, all we can do is explore what we are passionate about and use it to try and start a new chapter. Through it, lessons can be learned from the challenges and new doors can be opened. I guess maybe through this work, I'm often too much of a dreamer, far removed from reality, but if passion doesn't drive me, I don't know what will. My name is Barry, and thank you for joining me. Goodbye for now.